All right, you bunch of yahoos, strap yourselves in for another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
In other words, shut up, sit up, and pay attention. Welcome back to another episode of Toxic Masculinity, where we are here to entertain, offend, and defend anybody and everybody. We are just a couple of old crotchety farts that have a bad habit of speaking the truth and won't let a few facts get in the way of a good story. We believe in America and Americans. If this is not for you, well, then we suggest that you change the channel. We still believe in freedom of speech and will rub your face into the cow pie of reality. We will make you scratch your head or scratch your ass, hopefully not at the same time. Without further ado, my co host, none other than the man of men, the predator Don Frye, and I, his trusty sidekick, Dan to be Severn. Oh, and also I always have to introduce and Don's faithful companion Quinn, but I don't know if Quinn is doing her cameo or not today.
No, she's not making an appearance.
Okay, and just for your knowledge, Quinn is Don's dog, so she's usually on the air, so we always have to do a little introduction. I think she's getting more fan mail than what Don and I are getting.
Yeah, she's a smart one and a good looking one.
Yes. And our special guest there this evening is none other than Ken Patera. Ken, I mean, I knew like a little bit about, more or less, I knew more about your professional career, stuff like that. But then, when I started looking at you from track and field to weightlifting or Olympic lifting to strongman contests to professional wrestling, it's like going, dude, you didn't take much of a break now, did you?
No, I didn't take any break. I just kept going.
Well, I mean, what was the track and field something that you started up like in high school, and that was your first love?
Yeah. Well, and I had three brothers that played football, and I didn't care that much for football. And so the next best thing was track and field. So,
are they older brothers or younger brothers?
Oh yeah, no, my oldest brother Jack, he played 7 or 8 years in the NFL, and then he was a line coach for the LA Rams, and then he was line coach for the New York Giants. And then he was defensive line coach for the Minnesota Vikings when they used to go to the Super Bowl. They never won any, but they used to go all the time. And then he got when Seattle Seahawks became a franchise in '76, they picked my brother as their first head coach. So he was a head coach for the Seattle Seahawks for the first 8 years of their existence. But then as things happened, politics got in the way, and I think 7 or 8 head coaches got released from their head coaching duties, and they brought in a bunch of wusses, as far as I was concerned, fuck them. Yeah. So anyway, so my brother was out of football. But then I had a younger brother that kicked field goals. I don't know if you can call that playing pro football, but he was a hell of a field goal kicker and extra points, kicked off, all that shit. And then I had another brother that was a running back that had
another younger one or older one?
Huh?
Another younger one or older one?
No, 2 years older than me. Yeah.
Okay, so you're third on the totem pole.
Yeah, I'm third, okay. And then my youngest brother. Yeah.
Yeah, again, because I have 7 other siblings myself, so I tell people I'm second on the totem pole. So like, when you're from bigger families, you're like, okay, first on the totem pole, third, last, whatever, somewhere in the mix.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
But you said your younger brother also was involved in football.
What's that now?
You said your younger brother also was involved in football?
Yeah. He was a place kicker. I'll tell you a funny story. He was playing for the New York Giants when my oldest brother was Who the hell was he? I think he was coaching the Minnesota Vikings at the time. So the Minnesota Vikings, they fly back to Yankee Stadium to play the New York Giants. The score was 17-16. My youngest brother scored, he scored 9 points for the Giants. And the New York Giants beat the Minnesota Vikings 17-16 that day. And so the New York press, blew the whole thing up and said that Jack Patera's youngest brother comes down, kicks a field goal, kicks an extra point, kicks a field goal. Oh, then he kicked another field goal. Whoa! And he kicked another field goal and beat the Vikings 17-16.
Yeah. Well, you were saying before that you didn't think that like place kicker is all that vital, but I mean you've seen. I'm trying to think what is the record here. I mean, I just remember watching this gentleman. It all boiled down to if he could kick this field goal, and I forget what it was. It was some astonishing distance right there, and he even had. He had been, I think he'd been some type of a war veteran or something like this because he was missing part of his foot, and he even had a special boot on it. It's like squared on off, and I mean he booted that thing and it went up to the uprights, and he won it. He won the game there for them, and I'm going, oh.
Yeah,
It's like if you got someone that's got a good leg, just get them close. Just get them close, and they'll score every time.
Yeah, I remember that game. I saw that game. That field goal kicker was from Detroit. His name was Dempsey. Yeah, his last name was Dempsey. I don't remember his first name, but he kicked that field goal. It was like 63 or 64 yards. It was an all-time record for NFL field goals. Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember I just remember being in the family living room, and my brothers and I were all going crazy because we just couldn't believe that just won the game, just like that.
Detroit finally won one, huh?
Well, Detroit Tigers. Don likes what you'll see here, Ken. Don likes to razzle me quite a bit. So I'm born and raised from the state of Michigan, and Detroit Tigers don't have much to talk about when it comes for baseball and stuff like that. They don't do too well. It seems like in the baseball. The Red Wings used to be pretty darn good. They kind of, so Don likes to kind of rub my face into it. I'm like, well, I spend only half my time in Michigan, half my time in Arizona now. So he's got to give me a little bit of a break.
You guys are a lot younger than I am. So I remember all that stuff that went down. Well, how old are you now, Dan?
65. 65.
And Don?
I think I'm 56 or 7. I'm not sure.
I'll get out of town.
I don't know. Haven't done the math. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to be 80 in a couple months. So I probably remember things that you guys were in grade school or high school. So, but that's all right.
Again, we're hoping to touch on a few of those because, again, I don't know how you feel about politics, but we'll jump in again as long as you're comfortable with us asking a couple of questions in that realm. The world has changed so much from when you were raised, when you were in athletics, and how.
Hey Ken, Brad Rheingans said you'd be drinking Bud Light.
No, get out of town. Get out of Brad Rheingans. He called me about a month and a half ago. We had a nice about an hour talk.
Yeah, how's he doing?
He's doing good. He's doing good. He said that Brock Lesnar had gotten him an apartment up in was it Fargo or somewhere in North Dakota? Yeah, I think it was Fargo. Yeah. And but he was looking forward to moving back to Minnesota, sometime in the next year.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. But he's doing a lot better. Yeah, he had a rough go of it.
What happened?
Is that health-wise or?
Yeah, health-wise. He's had so many body replacements. I've had 11. I think he's had like 25.
Wow.
It's just ridiculous. Oh yeah, he beat the shit out of himself. That amateur wrestling. He he didn't train with weights. He trained with a goddamn 300-pound log.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it's about, both you guys, you know. And I don't know if you train like Brad did. Yeah, he's kind of like the lumberjack mentality.
Yeah.
Well, again, well, I mean, is it okay to ask you? I mean, what are some of the body parts of surgery that you've had to have replaced yourself?
Oh, I've had both knees, my right hip, both shoulders, left elbow, and then I've had surgically repaired my right wrist. Well, my left knee, I had 4 operations on. And so, you know, it just adds up, keeps adding up. And
Well, I mean, well, you do, well, but okay, the way that medicine keeps progressing, what they used to do, and the more invasive type of surgeries, now things are being done more and more microscopically. But
yeah,
even then, it's kind of like going, can they actually build what they call the $6 million man, where you got all these different body parts onto them? I mean, do you feel good? Uh, I'm really intrigued with the right hip, because I have a right hip that's giving me some problems. And it's like going, I tried doing stem cells. I'm trying to do a few other things there first before I
yeah.
undergo the knife. So I'm really intrigued about your right hip.
Well, the right hip turned out fantastic. In '93, when they replaced my right hip, they told me within 10 years I'll have to have it replaced with a new one. That never happened. So that's been 30 years.
Wow. I
Because
mean, did they say why?
well, they said the metal alloy that they used in the original hip replacement, they said that was going to wear out. And they said
Okay.
that the socket that they had to put in to the hip, you know, for the ball and socket deal, they said that probably won't last. And here it's been 30 years. And
Wow.
and that doctor's, he's come and gone, he's dead. So
Oh, well, okay. I guess I can't get a reference now.
yeah, the hip lived longer than the doctor.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, no, that's well. Again, when I mean, I've kind of looked into the hip replacement thing a little bit, but when I first started looking into it, they were saying that for a 150-pound man, it will last for about 8 to 10 years. And I'm
yeah,
like going, well, that's okay for a 150-pound man, but what about a 250+ pound man?
yeah,
Does that mean I get 2 3 years less wear and
yeah,
tear because I put a little more stress on the old ball and socket?
yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, I'm having back surgery on the 25th, which is what, 6 days. And I know, Don, you had back surgery, didn't
Yeah.
you?
Lots of them. Lots of them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this will be my first one, but I've probably needed back surgery since 1970, 1980. And that's when I first started thinking about having back surgery. And I went to a good friend of mine. He's an orthopedic surgeon. He's an orthopedic surgeon for the Olympic team in '72. And he's right here in Minnesota. Well, he was Dr. Harvey O'Phelan. He passed away, oh God, I don't know, 25 years ago. But he told me the best advice that he could give me is not to have back surgery
Yeah.
until I'm
You know,
probably
choice.
50.
Mhm.
Yeah, until I'm 50 or 55. And so then I went back to see him, and he had just retired from performing surgery. And he said, Ken, if you can hang on for another 15, 20 years, they'll be more than worth your time. Well, then now we're going back a ways. And
Yeah, I was
so,
gonna say that was an awful lot to ask at that point. I was just saying, can you hang on
yeah,
for another 10 or 15?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So now it's 2010, 2012, and my back is killing me. I can hardly stand up. I put one foot in front of the other. I said, fuck this shit. So I went back and I started talking to a surgery center here in Minneapolis. And he said, you think you really need it? I said, fuck, I'm a goddamn cripple.
Yeah.
He said, well, so anyway, here it is. 2023, I'm finally having the damn surgery.
Wow.
Well, my lower back is totally destroyed. And so initially they were going to do the fourth and fifth lumbar, go in there and brace it up and do whatever they do. Well, now they came back and says, well, we're going to have to do a double bracing in there. I'm not sure. Don, what do they call that when they put that metal stuff in your back?
They fuse them. I got rods. You know.
Yeah.
They fused them. Yeah. Shit.
Laminectomy or something.
Yeah, laminectomy. Correct. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So they have to do 2 of those on me now. So I'm going to have, those rods and everything in my back. I can't remember if it's 1, 2, no, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think he said. I could be wrong. Shit. I thought I was going to have this surgery 6 months ago. Wow. And there's always something then they took me to a heart clinic last week. They said, oh, I have a heart murmur. I said, what the hell, a heart murmur? He said, well, yeah, you have an irregular heartbeat. I said, I've had that my whole life.
Yeah.
I'm almost 80 years old. Who gives a shit about that stuff? I said, I want my fucking back fixed.
Right. So yeah.
I scared the shit out.
It's my priority is let's take care of the back.
Yeah. After 40 years, I think I deserve to have a back surgery where I don't have to have any more pain. I mean, if I stood up now, my bed's about 4 feet away. I could barely make it to my bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, people don't understand that when you're in pain, what that does. So it's yeah, like I said, my hip. I try to put on the best game face I can, but it's kind of like going,
Yeah, exactly. How long has your hip been bothering you?
Oh, over a couple of years now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did make one trip to go and try stem cells, and
oh yeah,
it did not do the magical thing that I was hoping that it was going to do for me. So now I got to look at phase 2.
Did you go to that clinic down in Columbia?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody that goes down there raves about it and everything. I just talked to a guy a couple hours ago, and he says, well, Ken, if this back surgery doesn't pan out, maybe we can get you down to Columbia, because everybody that's had success down there, swears by it. And I said, well,
yeah. Well, again, that's where the deal that they'll probably have, as long because you're looked upon as as an influencer, because you've done so well in your professions, that a lot of people will listen to your advice. And when they said that, so that's the deal I had with them. When they did not see me posting anything, like going, well, what's the deal? I go, well, my mother raised me that if you can't say something nice, maybe you shouldn't say nothing at all.
Yeah.
So that's why I said that's why I said I could post something, but you may not like what I post. Okay, yeah. So I just decided maybe I shouldn't say nothing at all.
Well, I had a buddy push me in there in a wheelchair, and I walked out 2 hours later. And then walked around the mall for 2 hours, and I hadn't done that in a decade, walked for 2 hours and did that one day and then come back and did it again the next day. So I'm a firm believer in it. It worked for me.
Okay. Now that was in Columbia.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, same place. Yeah, the exact same place that we're all talking about. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if this doesn't pan out, I'll try that one next. By that time, I'll be 90.
Yeah. You got, I mean, to me, it's like people always wonder, it's like, because, you got to look at what are the average lifespans for a man? What are the average lifespans for a woman? And then, to me, there's more and more information out there. There are more and more centenarians, people that are 100 plus years of age taking place.
Oh, yeah.
As long as you can take care of yourself. Now, Ken, you didn't exactly live a normal life, nor did Don or myself. So it's kind of like going, well, you put a little bit more wear and tear, but is it too late to start doing things even at, whether be it at 80 years of age here right now, to where you just start doing, you get things fixed, you keep eating right, you keep taking in the right type of fluids and things of nature, towards like, yeah, you might get a few more, what I call bonus rounds, overtime. I always refer to like amateur wrestling. I'm gonna take Father Time. He's gonna win eventually, but I can take him into overtime.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I like that. My longevity is on my side with my family. My grandparents, all four of my grandparents lived to be in their 90s.
Oh,
And
wow.
then my mom was 90 and my dad was 89. And my oldest brother, Jack, the one that was a football coach, he almost 86, but he died of pancreatic cancer that just ate him alive. But I'll tell you, he was a healthy horse. He would have been in his mid 90s if he hadn't died of that pancreatic cancer. So I feel that I have Father Time on my side a little bit more than the average, horse. So we'll wait and see. I know you guys have been through the ringer. Well, that's your own fault, though. You went in there and beat each other up for all those years.
No, okay, Jack, I'll stop right there. I go, oh, Mr. Frye, he's the one that I think he wanted to test. It's like metallurgy, it's the one. I'll just bring up one fight that Don had. Don was involved in a match that is still today looked upon as the most viewed combat match in history, and that is his match against Takayama in Pride, or literally they almost jog towards each other, and as they get within arm's reach, they're starting to punch to the point that they each have a collar tie, and they're simultaneously punching each other in the face, playing like a game of chicken. It's kind of like going, I'm punching you in the face, you son of a gun. Are you going to quit? And the other one's like, no, you son of a gun. I'm going to keep punching you in the face until you quit. And,
I remember, I've seen that, I don't know, 10, 12 times at least. That was fantastic. Great entertainment for us marks out here, Don. I'll tell you. I loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I kind of, it wasn't until like a week or so after Don's match that I finally got a chance to watch the match. And then I call him up and I'm like going, Don, I go, what was going through your mind other than Takayama's fist? Okay. We're not trying to play, who's going to be the most boneheaded individual here. I go,
right. Yeah.
It was like getting a phone call from my mom. Why were you doing that?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I believe your mom.
What were you thinking? What were you thinking? No, Dan's phone call was like getting a phone call from my mom. What are you doing, boy? What is wrong with you? I didn't raise you to act like that.
Well, the thing, Ken, I mean, I've known Don for so long. He lived with a couple of my younger brothers, so I know Don much like a younger brother. I get after my younger brother the same way I get after Don at times. I want the guy to be around it for a long time.
Yeah.
Even if he is a cantankerous bastard, so that's all right.
He's not old enough to be cantankerous.
Well, I know. Well, again, when you look at they go into that political ramifications. It's kind of going, what's the worst thing in the world to be? An old white guy that actually has a job, who woke up this morning and identified as still being a man. I keep thinking, like, when these people come out and go, no, I want to be I need to be an opposite gender. I need to be a female today. I need to jump into women's swimming here right now. So because I can't cut it in the men's sport of men's swimming. Or well, again, they've got men that are now transgender, that are power lifters in the female sector right now, and they're stealing all of their records. I'm thinking, what's your thoughts on that one?
Well, Target stores, the big retail outlet Target,
Right.
Target, yeah.
They're based here in Minnesota. As a matter of fact, their headquarters just a stone throw away from me. And an old girlfriend of mine calls me and says, Ken, what do you think about Target stores? I said, well, I like them. Why? Well, you're not going to like them anymore. She went on, rattled all this crap off about what they're doing with these gender type clothing, you know, for little boys and stuff. And she told me all that shit. I could not believe it. This is just 3-4 months ago. I said, when the hell did they start that? She says, I don't know, but it's recently. I haven't been to Target since.
No.
Well, again, I look at it as like people have to decide whether they're going to buy it or not, and they go, well, it's just like Budweiser. Yeah, when you see when you see what happened to them, and they did that little, they like, let's embrace this, and we got this new spokesperson here for us, and now look how much money that cost them by making that kind of move. Okay,
about 9 billion, 10 billion.
Hey, I got no problem spending a couple, $5 extra to support a local person, as opposed to the franchises. You can gladly have my money,
Yeah, right. I drink Miller Lite, but I also drink a lot of local beers, you know. So they're good. They're good beers. Right. Although, like you say, they're a couple bucks more, but who gives a shit?
Yeah, who gives a shit? Because you're putting the money back into the community, and
that's right.
Your people in that community too. And they probably think about the same things, the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't want everybody to think exactly how I think. Otherwise, this might be a screwed up world. But
we don't want it. We don't want people throwing boulders to the McDonald's.
Yeah, right. Hey, that's enough of that. That's enough of that. Because don't give anybody any ideas.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can pick it up.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You can't toss a little pebble anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What the fuck? What were you thinking when you did that, Ken?
I didn't throw it.
You didn't.
No, I swear to God, I was there. I never got convicted of throwing a rock through a window because the girl, the kid that was working the window that night at McDonald's, he come to the window and says, "Can I help you, sir?" And I said, "Well, I'd like to get some of those quarter-pound cheeseburgers." And he said, "Well, I'm sorry, we're closed." I said, "Well, what the hell? You got a whole tray of them over there." And he said, "That's for a TV commercial that we're shooting." And I looked a little closer, and they had TV cameras, 2 or 3, and there were about 5 or 6 people milling around. That's what they were doing. They were doing a commercial. Next thing I know, this kid comes up alongside of me. I didn't see him. All I saw was it wasn't that big of a rock, about 15, 20 pounds, whatever, comes smashing through the side window. And I looked at him. I said, "What the fuck are you doing, man?" He said, "Those son of a bitches are assholes. They fired me last week." And he runs off, I figured they'd get on his bicycle or something, nothing. Because, this McDonald's was in the middle of nowhere. And because I had walked from the hotel down to McDonald's to get the hamburgers. Saito couldn't walk because Mad Dog Vachon had busted his knee up so bad with a steel chair earlier that night. And so that left me to go. And then I just turned around. I said, hell with it. I walked back up to the hotel. Half an hour later, here comes the cops knocking on my door. "Mr. Patera, we heard that you were down at McDonald's and you threw a rock through the window." I said, "Well, hold on. I was at McDonald's. I'll admit that." I said, "The kid that waited on me knew who I was. He even asked me if I was Ken Patera, and I said, yeah." So I said, "But as far as that rock," I said, and I told him the same story that I just told you guys. And they said, well, that's not what he told us. I said, well, go back and ask him then. Well, they did go back and ask him. That he verified that I wasn't the one that threw the damn rock.
Yeah.
So, and so, you know, how it's an urban legend now. This is 1984. What is that, 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
And we're still talking about that shit, Don Frye. I'll tell you.
I got it from the horse's mouth, man. Shit.
Well, okay. You said it was a good sized rock that he threw there. I mean, probably, you know, you had a shot putting career there as well. So I mean, it could have been, they could have been there, you know.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not out shot putting rocks through McDonald's windows. Trust me. And so anyway, that. And I tell everybody, so well, once you look at the court report, you know, I was never convicted. I was exonerated from being the one that threw the rock. Oh, well, we didn't know that. And I says, well, fucking read the real story. You know, don't read what you read in the goddamn newspapers. Shit.
Well, there's also called the Inquirer newspaper.
Well,
that they embellish every story. You got alien women having alien babies and the whole 9 yards. My mother used to love that paper.
Yeah. The Inquirer, boy, they made a lot of money.
Yeah.
By lying.
They probably had to have a lot of fun just putting that paper together because it was all kind of misleading in so many different
totally.
directions.
Everything was misleading. Yeah.
Well, all right. Only because I see so have you always been chew? Okay. Do you do what kind of tobacco do you do?
Copenhagen.
Really? So that was my father. The thing is, my father would have a cup with him at all times. Okay, yeah, that's what my father did. And but when he was in public areas, I never saw that man spit. He would never carry a cup in public areas stuff like that. I never seen a spit. I'm like, oh my God, is that going down? I'm making. Yeah. I think I did Copenhagen once, and that was I was cured. I was cured of it. Yeah.
My grandfather never spit. He was from. He was from Stockholm, Sweden. Yeah, not too far from Copenhagen, Denmark, and he never spit. And he was like 96, you know, when he passed away. Hell, he roofed his house when he was like 88. You know, nice. It was a big fucking house too. I mean, he had to go up an extension ladder to get to the, you know, he'd throw a, 100-pound
bag of shingles, bundle of shingles
up the ladder. I watched him. I was just a kid. I was like, 14, 15 years old in high school. Yeah.
You do have some good genes when you can say tell stories like that. That's good genes.
14, 15 years old, and you're watching him work. Why didn't you get your ass up on the ladder?
He wouldn't let me. He said it was too. He said, I asked him. He said, "No, it's too dangerous." I'm not kidding. Oh, he was an old tough Swede.
Yeah.
Now you definitely got some great great genes there. That's for sure, there, Ken. All right, so let's go. So going from you're doing your track and field stint, then you're jumping into the weightlifting or Olympic lifting. So that was your transition. Again, correct me if I'm wrong on that, because I trying to do a little bit of homework there to see, because you've been doing so many different things for so many decades. It's kind of going, wow, okay. I like the fact that you do a track and field. It actually shocked me when I saw high hurdles.
Yeah, that's why I started high hurdling and high jumping my freshman year in high school. I was only 5'9", weighed 160 pounds. I could stuff a basketball when I was 5'9", in the 8th grade. Yeah.
Wow. Do you talk about this? I mean, you weren't even, you probably had never heard of plyometrics, how to develop explosive leg power. You just naturally had, you were given that as a gift of birth.
Yeah. I used to jump rope for, oh God, I don't know, an hour at a time out on the back patio at my parents' house. And then they had an eave that was 10 feet high. And I finally touched that when I was in the 7th grade, that 10 feet. And by the time I was in the 8th grade, the last day of school, I stuffed a basketball. The last day. Yeah.
Wow. That was your big goal there, wasn't it? Just I
was 5'9". I was 5'10" my freshman year. Yeah, so I was 5'9". Yeah. And nobody, so I go out for the basketball team my freshman year in high school, and we're doing these, drills that you're running down, you catch the ball and you do a layup. Hell, I didn't do a layup. I stuffed the damn thing. The basketball coach went, "Whoa, what'd you just do?"
Wow.
Because I have big hands and I could, palm the ball real easy. And so, boom, I didn't think nothing of it. It startled the coach. He said, "God, I've never seen anybody do that at your age." Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm gonna share a story with you on the flip side of this. I have 2 sons, and or I should say 3 sons, but 2 that played basketball. They both could stuff the basketball again as being freshmen. They could do that. Now they didn't get that gene from me, because if I jump up there, I'll be lucky if I can touch the bottom of the net. I'll be lucky if I can touch the bottom of the net. I'm thinking they got that from Mama. That's where they got that. They didn't get that one from me at whatsoever. So
yeah, but I did practice jumping, for about a year. Like I say, I jump rope for an hour at a time, and then I, jump up and touch that eave, or try to touch it for about a year. Then I finally did it. Yeah.
Well, in track and field, how high did you get in your high jump then? Because if you're doing this in basketball, how high did you get in high jump?
Well, I high jumped 6'1".
Holy moly! At 5'9", to walk up that bar and see it over your head. How does one get motivated? Wow.
Yeah. Well, get this. Now, my sophomore year at Brigham Young University, I was a shot putter by that time. This is like 6 years later. I was 6'1.5". I weighed 280 pounds. I high jumped 6'2.5". Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you don't see people built like that doing that kind of stuff. They're usually long, lean, slender type individuals.
How much did you weigh?
275, 280. I think I weighed 280 at that time, my sophomore year at Brigham Young. Yeah. Yeah. Damn. I was 6'1.5". I never made it to 6'2", Don.
Yeah. Me neither. I lied about the 6'2" or 6'1". Shit. I don't know how tall I ever ended up being. Shit.
Yeah.
I know I'm on the way down now.
Yeah. Well, we all are. I think I'm about 5'10".
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 5'10", maybe a half. Yeah, let's call it 5'10.5".
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, when I was at Brigham Young, they measure your height and your weight the beginning of every year. I mean, it's mandatory for everybody. So I know exactly what I was. Yeah.
What did you pursue education wise at Brigham Young? What were you pursuing?
History and phys ed. I was a double major. Yeah, and phys ed. And then I graduated. And I'll tell you how I graduated. I didn't graduate when I was at Brigham Young. When I left there, I needed 6 credits. 6 credits to get my degree. So when I went to prison for not throwing the fucking rock, Don Frye.
No, you went to prison for beating the shit out of some female cop, right?
Well, yeah. This guy's impossible.
Hey, Ken, I know that. Okay, I've been telling her. Yeah.
The chief's daughter who wanted to be a cop.
Yeah, no, she was the daughter of the coroner. Yeah, but the coroner's office was just below the judge's chambers.
Oh, geez.
In the same building.
Yeah. And, so they had dinner together every Sunday afternoon. Yeah.
Absolutely, they did. They had been friends for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his little blonde daughter picked a fight with a bunch of bad wrestlers.
I'm
The
fucking
thing is, when she jumped on my back, I had no idea it was. There's only 16 of them.
Yeah.
And that's what I was told afterwards, and that's what when we went to court, they verified there were 16 police officers that got badly beat up by Masanori Saito from Japan, and Ken Patera, ex-Olympian from the United States. I said, well, thanks for putting all the credentials in there.
Wow.
You forgot shot putter and high jumper.
Yeah, right. They should have said, yeah, the high hurler, and the high jumper, and the shot putter, the discus thrower, the hammer thrower, the weightlifter, the wrestler, that. They left out all the good stuff.
That's right. They didn't want to give you too much credit.
No, they didn't want to give me any credit at all.
So there's 16. How many of them are female?
Just the one.
Just the one.
Yeah, she came down. Hey, you ready for this?
Yeah.
She was 5'10", weighed 125 pounds.
Good.
And she has a 357 Magnum on her hip. The gun was as big as she was.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's the one that started the whole thing. She pulled out the mace to mace Saito. Well, Saito was standing in front of me in the hallway, and I was in the doorway. Saito sees what she's doing. He ducks, and she maces me. Oh, Jesus Christ. Have you ever been maced?
No.
Oh, God.
No.
It burnt the shit out of my eyes. I just lost focus of everything. I couldn't see anything.
Right.
And next thing I know, all these fucking cops are whacking me with their billy clubs. And so Saito, I don't think I hit anybody. I think Saito just stacked all 16 of them up. He had them stacked up. I'm not kidding. Yeah, but I think I whacked I have to admit, I did whack a couple after I was able to see something. But yeah, anyway, she jumped on my back after she maced me because I turned around. I couldn't see nothing. She jumps on my back. I'm in the doorway of the room. And she tries to gouge my fucking eye. I said, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
So I reached back with my elbow, knocked her off. And the hallway was only about 4 feet wide. So she went flying up and hit her head on the wall. Knocked herself. She said she was completely knocked out. Then after that, she told the court that she was fighting with me after I knocked her out.
Yeah.
And,
maybe in La La Land she was fighting. Yeah.
So supposedly she says I picked her up and body slammed her and dropped 4 or 5 elbows on her when she was face down in the hallway.
Right.
I just fabricated the whole bullshit.
Yeah, while the other 15 cops stood around and watched you just dropping elbows.
Yeah, right. Yeah. While the other 15 cops were whacking me with their billy clubs.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. You had time to stand up and drop an elbow.
I'll tell you an interesting thing. The cop that was with her, he was a guy. His name was John Dillinger. Swear to God. I'm thinking John Dillinger, the criminal that got gunned down in St. Paul. Yeah, same guy. I said, well, it's not the same guy, but same name.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, he had the name of a criminal, and they're after me.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Often imitated, but never duplicated.
I'm sure he lied like a criminal in the court case, too.
No, he was a real nice guy.
Really?
Yeah, she's the one, that little bitch is the one that lied about everything. Oh, yeah, she lied about everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dropping elbows on you.
Yeah. She died about 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
No, I was so happy to hear that. Oh. Yeah. Oh, I was just tickled. Yeah.
Well, it's part of what you call karma. I mean,
right. Yeah. I think she died when she was in her late 50s, early 60s. And thank God, she didn't get to spend all my money.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. That I'm a big believer in karma, and there's sometimes I go, I just want a big old bag of popcorn and sit front row, center seat when it happens to some of those
Yeah.
people. Yes,
Exactly.
because I'm
Yeah.
not gonna feel sorry for them at all.
Yeah. But the rest
Wow.
of the cops were pretty decent guys. I never had any trouble with cops. Never. I have a couple friends now that are cops. One of them's retired, but he was pretty good friends with that Chauvin, the one that snuffed out George Floyd.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that happened 15 minutes from where I live.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just down the street. Yeah.
You say that he was one of the couple officers that were there on the scene?
No, he wasn't there. He knew
Oh,
the guy. Yeah.
oh, I got you. Okay.
He was a state trooper, actually. He'd been retired. Yeah. Yeah. But what a fiasco that was. What a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, there's good people and bad people in every single industry, and that's what people. I mean, you got to look at it that way. And there's the sad part about law enforcement. They will qualify with their handgun. They'll even qualify with their taser, mace, stuff like that every few years. But they're going to be hands on more than anything, and that's one of the least things that they train. I say that there, Kenneth, because I since 1994, I should say since 95, actually, I've been physically teaching a ground combatives class
Yeah.
for law enforcement and corrections. Each one's a little bit differently, only because of the uniform and the equipment that they wear on the duty belt and that.
Yeah.
But it's I will in the last 4 or 5 years, I have not signed a single certificate. I have another gentleman who is a commander who from corrections and law enforcement that he'll speak to them. He'll get the classes all set up. I'll go in and teach him. And out of let's say 20 to 30 that show up, I would probably sign maybe 4 or 5 certificates. That's it.
Yeah.
The rest of them I would flunk because of physically what showed up.
Exactly. They're not capable of doing it properly.
No. I mean, the scary part, I mean, law enforcement is one thing, because usually the ratio of how many bad people versus, the officers, it's a closer equation. But when you work in law enforcement, you are outnumbered. You could be like one officer to every 150 inmates.
Yeah, exactly.
You think you're gonna take on 150 inmates? I don't think so.
No, not at all. Yeah, not at all. Yeah, that's the problem with that. It's nice to know, how to protect yourself to a certain extent, but when you're overwhelmed by numbers,
yeah,
then you got to pull out the big old 6-shooter and go bang, bang, you're dead.
yeah. Because realize that's you only got 6 rounds.
Yeah, right.
Sheer numbers is like going, well, it sucks to be you. You take the first person, you use them as a body shield.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Gotta grab a cup of. Yeah, we'll keep on going, even though Don had to step away there because he probably had to use the restroom or something like that.
Yeah, right.
That's usually when he steps on up, he's got one of these little girly bladders on him. I'll put it like that. But I want to get right. I want to get back into you because of your family background, stuff like that. Having there 4 males total. You said three other brothers and yourself. So there's 4 males, and you all had athletic careers, whether it be for football or did anyone else wrestle like you did? Do the professional wrestling or do any of the weightlifting or Olympic lifting, I should say, or any of the strongman type contests?
No, I was the only one that did the weightlifting. The other 3 just love football. They live for football. They're just football players, and they're all good at it. I mean,
did they all go like to college on like athletic scholarships?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's that.
Yeah. My middle brother, he went on an academic and athletic scholarship, and Jack, my oldest brother, he was a Phi Beta Kappa in college and Dean's honor roll and all that shit. I never excelled to that height scholastically, you know.
Yeah.
I was kind of middle, 2.5 average, C plus average.
Yeah, no, I mean, Ken, I mean, it's, again, I said I got 7 other siblings. I'm second on the totem pole. The 5 males, my brothers and I, all 5 Severn males went to college on full athletic scholarship for the sport of amateur wrestling.
Yeah.
And then my 3 sisters basically went to college on full academic scholarship. So I always tell people I'm an athlete with a brain and not a dumb jock, because trust me, I've worked with a lot of dumb jocks, and I'm like, going, oh my God, what is this poor guy going to do when the next 4 years is gone? They aren't going to be anywhere, because they're just here because they can shoot hoops, run that pigskin into the end zone, or whatever have you right there. It's like going, 4 years and done. Bye-bye.
Back in the 60s, when I was in college, that's how it was. I wasn't expected to graduate, I did, thank God.
You weren't expected to, huh?
No. Hell, my other 3 brothers, they all graduated. We all graduated from college, and I have a lot of friends that I played sports with in college. Shit, I don't think they ever finished their sophomore year, scholastically. And then here comes graduation day. They weren't in the graduating class. They spent 4 frickin' years in college, and that's how it was.
Yeah, I literally, I mean, well, but I'll say by my sophomore year, because I was already involved in in the fall I was a football player. In the wintertime I was a wrestler, amateur wrestler, and then in the spring I was a track and field guy. I went for track myself, but the track coach knew that if there was a track meet on the same day on that weekend, that there was an amateur wrestling event, because there'd be freestyle wrestling or Greco-Roman wrestling, he was never going to see me. But I let him know that ahead of time, that I'm going out for track, and if there's never a conflict, I'll be at the track meets. But if there's a wrestling meet, bye. And he was mad at me, because just like you, I did run high and low hurdles. I even did the I did the shot put. And what kind of distance did you throw in that shot? I'm really curious about this right now, because you said you threw shot as well.
A little over 20 meters, 65, 11 and a half.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was good back then.
I'm trying to think what the actual record would have been, because I think that the record was around, I'll say 72 or 73 feet or something like that.
At that time, Randy Matson held it. It was 70 feet, 70 feet, 3 inches, 6 inches, something like that.
Yeah, again, I knew it was that 70, but I don't. That's been so long ago that, and again, I don't know if that's been broken at this point in time, because there was. Did you do the slide, the slide, or were you doing the spin with the O'Brien spin that came in?
No, we didn't have the spin at that time. We had the Perry O'Brien glide.
Yep.
We called it. There's a kid from Oregon now, Ryan Krausner, big kid, about 6'7", 6'8". He just set the new world record. It was like 67 feet.
Holy moly.
77 feet.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was just a couple months ago. Yeah. And I looked at that, I said 77 feet. I said, holy shit. I threw almost 66 feet. It's 11 feet difference. Wow. I said, that guy couldn't even pick up what I used to press over my head.
Well, again, but that's what's incredible about your career. When you're doing like the powerlifting, Olympic lifting, the only one that I think beat you was the one Russian.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name, but he's a very comical Russian. because of what he could do. I mean, but he just the weight that he could put up, he could clean and snatch over his head.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I was the first American to clean and press over 500 and clean and jerk over 500. And at that time, he was doing like 515. He was doing like 10 pounds more than I was able to do. And so in 69, I beat him. Then I hurt my knee in 70, and my knee never healed up. It was just, this is the thing about a lot of people aren't aware of this. 1970, an amateur athlete, didn't matter what sport you're in, but an amateur athlete in the United States didn't have no support. We weren't allowed to take any kind of money from anybody, no sponsorship. You're on your own. You are a true American amateur athlete, and we're going to keep it that way. That was from the president of the IOC, which is International Olympic Committee. His name was Avery Brundage. Avery Brundage. He was a fucking asshole. He was a multi-millionaire. Yeah.
Okay. But that rule really only pertained to America, I swear, because
exactly
when you look at the Russian or the old Eastern Bloc countries, you would be in their military, but you had never saw any military duty. You're being paid and you're being fed, but you better train.
Yeah,
and not only, but you better train. You better win, because otherwise we're gonna send you to the gulag. Okay.
Well, hell, my competitor, Vasily Alexiev, he had a brand new stretch Mercedes Benz in his garage. He had all tailor-made clothes. Well, he was a big guy. But I mean, he was living the life of Riley over there in Russia. I'm over here toiling. I mean, I was in the back 40. I was plowing the field, and I was just, beating the cows, and But anyway, I never had any support. Absolutely none.
Yeah. I understand how that goes, especially the farm life. I again, having the brothers and sisters, I grew up on a farm, so you named the animal, we raised it, but you didn't give it a pet name, because sooner or later it's going to be on your plate.
That's right.
and one of my jobs was milking Peggy, the family milk cow, and I did that for, I don't know, 7-8 years. And when Peggy finally got too old, well, they turned her into hamburger. Okay.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. My grandparents had farms, so I was on the farm quite a bit, but my parents lived in the city. My dad was a baker. He owned his own bakery.
Oh, and nice.
Mom was a homekeeper. She had 5 little assholes, 4 boys and 1 daughter. And so she had her hands full.
There's a lot of testosterone there in that family.
Yeah, my dad used to get up at like 4 in the morning.
I say, usually
open the bakery, start baking the bread early in the morning, so when the customers come in, you have nice fresh bread. God, that bread is fantastic.
Oh, the smells of a bakery. I mean, I love going into a bakery and stuff like that, just because the aroma. It's like, why can't they make any kind of aerosol sprays that smells like bakery fresh right out of the oven?
Oh yeah, it'd be $1 million seller.
It would. Well, again, there's in real estate, they even say that if you put some kind of like bread or muffins or something like that in the oven, just to get a little bit of that aroma in there, your chances of selling that home have increased a great deal.
Yeah.
Because again, they feel like, they're just not aware of it. But it's kind of like, it makes sense to me.
Exactly. I live 100 miles north of the Twin Cities. Now, before I sold my house down there, I had everything was, perfect. I moved up here. I'm out in the country. I'm in the wilderness, tracking bear and, mountain lion, all that shit, about 7, 8 o'clock at night. So I don't have too much time. I have to get out there and catch the animals, before they
what do you? I mean, okay, what season is it in, and what are you going after right now? I mean, do you still hunt? Do you still hunt now, or?
Oh, whatever's available.
Okay.
Not too much right now. It's too hot.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like 85 degrees today. Shit. No animals come out this time of day. Actually, it's my nephew and my son-in-law. They're the real hunters. Yeah. But yeah, we got everything out here in these fucking woods. Actually, I'm kind of afraid to go out in the woods.
Well, I'd be a little bit hesitant, especially if you got bear like what you say you have. I mean, in Michigan, where I'm at, in the Coal Michigan, it's a small area. But even where I grew up, New Ulm, Michigan, there was never any bear. Maybe in the northern part you'd see some bear. Upper peninsula you definitely see some bear, but not down in the lower half. You would you see.
There's bear here. Yeah, there's bear. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
but
a lot of deer. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks after I moved up here, about a year and a half ago, what do? Nailed a deer right on the highway out about a mile from my house. I just smashed the shit out of my car.
Did you total it?
Yeah, I'm sitting there on the highway, just 2-lane highway.
Uh-huh.
This kid pulls up behind me in a big pickup truck. He gets out and comes up. He said, "Are you all right?" Here I got the goddamn.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. We didn't miss you, Don.
Yeah, not a bit.
That airbag opened up and there's all kinds of powder in it. I had that shit all over me, and the guy says, "Are you all right?" And I says, "Yeah, I think so." I said, "What the hell did I hit?" He said, "Oh, well, you hit a deer." He said, "You killed it." I says, "Good, that son of a bitch." so anyway, luckily I was only a mile from my house, so he got me home and everything, and that was it.
Okay. The question is, did you keep the deer? Was the deer good enough to keep for?
No, I think no, it was only maybe 100 pounds, 110 pounds. No, I killed that son of a bitch dead. No, he just drug it off the highway. I said, "How big a deer was that?" He said, "Little one." He said, "But he destroyed the front of your car."
Well, Ken, I had the exact same experience just last summer.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm driving in through the state of Wyoming. Now, Wyoming speed limit is 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Yeah.
So that means I'm doing 85.
Yeah, right.
Maybe a little bit faster. Maybe
90.
I don't want to say nothing that's going to incriminate me here now. But let's say I'm doing a good full 80 plus miles an hour when bam, I hit that thing. It just jumped out of a ravine, and by the time it was coming down, and just like you, the airbag went off. I go, why is there stuff like in that airbag? Well, you shouldn't. Why is there white powder, stuff like that? It's like, well, should have been just air. Why do you need to look like Casper the Ghost when it's all over? Because you might be looking in the mirror and wonder if that's your spirit that you're looking at her now.
That shit was all over me. God.
Yeah. That was crazy. Well, let's jump into professional wrestling here right now.
Yes.
What was the lure? I mean, did you have an interest into it, or did someone just come to you to say, because of your size, because of your athletic ability, because you would have been a shoo-in for all this?
Yeah, well, when I was a kid, 1953, Portland Wrestling came on the local TV, and that was it came on the same week we actually got a television set. We had never had the Magic Box, never had one. Nobody in the neighborhood had one. We were the first one to get TV.
Oh my! So did you have Grey Poupon in your refrigerator too? Or?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So anyway, I was 10 years old, and the first show I see was Portland Wrestling. Portland Roughhouse Wrestling. Tough Tony Bourne and Kurt von Poppenheim and a few Art Thomas and no, not yeah, Art Thomas, yeah, big black guy. So anyway, I got a real interested, and I had all my friends over. I had 6 or 7 kids from the neighborhood in every Saturday morning, jumping off the couch. We destroyed my parents' house and broke all the furniture, of course. And
well,
then
the couch was the perfect place to take one of your brothers and body slam them on, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what we did. Yeah.
Same thing happened in the Severn household.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And so
wait,
anyway,
when you all turn to pro athletes, did you buy a mom and dad a new couch?
no, they didn't want to shed. My parents were fairly well off, But, they could have used a few extra bucks, but I was too stingy.
Yeah.
But anyway, then about a day or the next week, the Olympic Games came on from Helsinki, Finland, from the 52 Olympics. Now it's 1953. Well, back in those days, there was no technology. They had to wait a whole year in order to telecast that Olympic game. So when the weightlifting came on, I was just mesmerized. I was only 10 years old. You hear these guys come out lifting these big, horrendous weights, and boom, boom, boom. And one guy that caught my imagination, he's from Detroit, Michigan, Dan. And you probably have heard of this guy, Norbert Szymanski.
Norbert Szymanski. Now, again, that name doesn't ring a bell offhand, but go ahead, continue, please.
He was 3, maybe 4-time Olympian. And that was in the light heavyweight championship. Anyway, he wound up winning the gold. Yeah.
Again, to be a 3 or 4-time Olympian, you're looking at a span of, 12 to 16 years right now.
12, 15, yeah. I think it was 15 years because he had back surgery and missed the 56 Olympics. So he was in the 48, the 52, and 60 and 64.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was
incredible.
Yeah, he was incredible. He just passed away a couple of years ago. He was like 95, 96.
Oh, good genes there again.
I got to know him real well. Really a nice guy. But then I was in 1961, I was 17. I just turned 17 when I graduated from high school, and somebody talked me into joining Sam Liprinzi's gym. It was just up the street, about less than a mile up the street. So I walked up there one day, walked in the place, and met Sam, the owner. And he was you remember Steve Reeves?
Yeah, Superman.
Yeah, well, Sam placed second to Steve Reeves, but Sam won the most muscular man in America at the Mr. America contest, maybe 1948 or 49. And Sam was only like 5'5", 5'6", maybe. And great guy though. So he knew my brother, and he knew about the Patera family and everything. So I got a gym membership there. Well, after about a month, I see all these big, hairy, ugly people coming in, lifting weights and going stinking up the steam room. And I find out that they're
fell in love when they joined them, huh? You fell in love when they joined them, huh?
Yeah.
That's a job for me.
Yeah. So anyway, I got to know them, and like I said, it was in 1961. So but they're all good guys, and one of them turns out to be the Sheik, not the Detroit Sheik, Sheik Adnan El-Kaisi. But at that time, he was Billy White Wolf. He was an American Indian, right out of Baghdad, Iraq. He says, God, he said, are you going to college? I said, yeah. He said, boy, you're big enough to really be a good professional wrestler. And he said, I could get you a contract over in Japan for $1,000 a week. Now, this is 1961. I didn't know anything about wrestling or.
Yeah, but okay, 1961, that kind of money? Come on now.
Yeah, I had no idea. So anyway, 3 years later, I'm back, but I'd gone to Brigham Young, so I was gone in and out for a while. Then I wind up back at Sam LaPrinze's gym in 1964. Well, in 1964, now I'm up to like 280 pounds. And, he comes to me and he said, you remember me, Kenny Patera? I says, yeah. He says, you're Billy White Wolf. Yeah. And he says, that offer is still open, $1,000 a week. I can get you over there. I can train you. Take me a couple of weeks to train you. Then we fly to Japan. I said, oh God, that was going too fast for me. I said, I haven't even graduated from college yet. I said,
let me stop you there for 1 second. At this timetable, what would the hourly wage have been for just to work a normal job? What would the hourly wage have been? Or what would a weekly take home have been at that time?
$285, $290 an hour. It would have been $3 an hour.
Okay, again, because I want people to hear this, because it's like when you see what happened during the whole pandemic, and you're seeing people at McDonald's. We're gonna bring up McDonald's again right now because of the story that Don was hitting you with it. But McDonald's right now, you can make, was it $16 or $17 an hour?
No, here in Minnesota, it starts at $20 an hour.
Really?
Oh yeah, at any fast food restaurant, $20 an hour.
See, that's been so in Michigan. I think it's only up to again. I really think it's only around that $16 or $17 an hour.
Yeah,
is where it's at.
That's a couple of years ago. They advertised right in the window, $20 an hour.
Jeez.
Yeah. Unbelievable. That's just mind-numbing to me, because McDonald's was never supposed to be a career job. McDonald's is for that pimple-faced high school kid to get his first job, to realize I can't stand flipping burgers. I'm gonna go get a real job. But you got your feet wet, and at least you knew how to show up somewhat on time and start doing work and stuff like that. But
when I was a sophomore in high school at Cleveland High School in Portland, Oregon, you go. They just built a brand new McDonald's about 2 blocks up the street, so everybody ran up there for lunch. I ran up there. Hamburgers were 25 cents, and then you'd get a vanilla shake for 25 cents and French fries for a nickel. And that was our lunch, 60 cents or 55 cents, whatever it was, for a complete lunch. And they were paying, a friend of mine, Ronnie Purcell, got a job there. He was making 65 cents an hour. Yeah. That was 1960. Yeah, my junior year in high school.
Wow. Again, I want people to hear that, because it got to see how the times have changed, and when people don't really understand the opportunities that they have nowadays, you could be on TikTok and you could be twerking your butt, and people are going to pay to watch you twerk your butt. I'm making, oh my God, talk about the world going to hell in a handbasket.
I knew it. I knew that was you in that mask on. Thank you. Wouldn't be recognized.
I thought I got to put a whole hood on now.
Tubby Tanaka. That's...
I love it.
Okay, sorry about that, Ken. Let's get back to the professional wrestling right now, because I mean, the fact that again you were involved in that quite some time there, but you had big rivals there with Johnny Valentine, stuff like that as well. A big feud with him. So please continue on the professional wrestling trail.
Yeah, well, when I had that feud with Johnny Valentine, that was in 1979 down in Charlotte. That was called the Mid-Atlantic Territory back in those days. And I liked working with Johnny because you knew you're in the ring with somebody. He just pound the shit out of you. Not as bad as Don Frye, but
Yeah.
fucking Valentine. He'd hit you so hard he'd split your chest open. You split the skin.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Just with the chop?
No, you have a hammer like that.
Oh.
Boom. And then Wahoo McDaniel, if they were working together, Wahoo would come back with the big chops and split you open too. Oh yeah, those guys who really they'd wind up and whack you. And so, nothing like you guys used to do, but it was believable. Trust me, it was believable. And those guys got over like $1 million. And I never heard anybody. I used to lay them in snug. I was a snug worker, but I never, hit people in the mouth or in the, anywhere that it's going to hurt you. And so if you hurt your opponent, then what the hell you do the next night, because you might be working with them 4 or 5 days in a row. So you don't want to smack somebody around, you don't want to get smacked around, you have to go chase girls and drink beer later.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. I really wish I had been born with that territory type agenda that there, because I mean, I'm like a throwback from days gone by. The cell phone, you can't have the same match with the same guy. One city one night, drive 100 miles away, a different city another night. I mean, it just it's a different era now.
Yeah, that's how it was back in those days. Yeah, it was crazy.
Then you have that final loser leaves town match, and all you do is head to the next territory for the next year or two.
Well, loser leave town. If you saw somebody pull up with a U-Haul trailer, you knew that they were leaving.
Yeah.
And trust me, the fans knew. The fans would watch. If they had announced loser leave town match, the fans would be out there and back
watching.
Oh yeah, I swear to God.
Play some bets.
It was hilarious. Wow. I never had a loser leave town match. I snuck out the other side. We used to have some wild times, like in North Carolina, let's say there's over 300 towns that you could actually wrestle and draw a decent crowd in, where you could actually get a good payday. Yeah, North Carolina is not big, but it's spread out, and there's a lot of towns that are 2,500 to 4,000 people, and every one of those towns you can draw 600, 700, 800 people. That's a healthy payday. Back in those days, but that's how it was. There were no big paydays, that I can think of. Well, Madison Square Garden, I used to make 3.5. Some, if the old man liked the match, he gave me 4,000. But the rent, I found out the rent at Madison Square Garden when I was wrestling there, the rent was $33,000 just to rent the fucking building. Well, then he had another, probably 20,000 in promotional fees. So now he had to take care of 20 wrestlers on a payroll of maybe 50 grand. So, some of us got paid and some of us didn't, like Bruno probably took home 6,000 a match. I took home 4,000. And of course, I didn't wrestle, every show on top. But when I was a main event, I'd get top dollar. And let's say I wrestled Bruno 3 times in the Garden, 3 times in Boston Garden, 3 times in the Cap Center, 3 times in Philadelphia. So people ask me, how many times did you wrestle Bruno Sammartino? I said about 40 times. Really?
What was your favorite spot to wrestle? To wrestle, not spot, but wrestle.
I love Boston.
Yeah.
Oh, it was nuts. I mean, you had to fight your way to the ring and fight your way back from the ring.
Yeah. You mean through the fans?
Oh, yeah, the Irishmen and the Puerto Ricans. Oh, God, they were just outrageous. I mean, they come out of the stands after you. Yeah. Yeah, they were nuts. But it was good. It was good target practice for the bad guy.
Wow.
But there were a lot of buildings like that. Boston, Springfield, Mass was terrible. It was just maybe even worse than Boston. And then the Garden, you had a fight, not every night, but you get 3 or 4 assholes in there, then they get the whole crew coming with them. And Pittsburgh was rough.
Was Bruno as strong as they say it was?
Well, the wrestling's a work. You get in there and I mean, you tussle around and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, he had some strength to him. But by the time I wrestled Bruno, he was 44 years old.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So he was, and then he retired a couple years after I started, and they did that thing with Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah.
A retirement party type match, and then he finally retired in 1980, and I had started there 1977. So just 3-4 years later that he was gone.
Yeah,
what was your go ahead, sis? Go ahead,
I saw Larry about 20 years ago, up in Vegas at one of the shows, and I says, "Man, that was a great series you all had. You and Bruno had with that." And he looked at me like, it was like it was real. Like I was a mark coming up, going, "Hey, hey." He looked at me like, I'm trying to tell you, it was a good, good gimmick you all had going on.
Yeah, Larry was a gimmick.
Yeah.
Larry World, I used to call him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of believed his own publicity sometimes.
There's a lot. They say the biggest marks are in the locker room, and that's
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
What was your big finisher move that you used?
Swinging full Nelson. That was where I put people in full Nelson and then swinging.
So okay, just start swinging in circles, or just swing back and forth, or just or okay.
People just thought I was killing my opponent, and in reality, I was. Yeah, but the swinging full Nelson. I started off with the bear hug. I didn't really care for that. It was so static, and so I don't even remember when I started using the swinging full Nelson. But
did you come up with that idea yourself, or did someone else? Okay.
Well, I was talking to an old timer. Some guy probably in his 50s or 60s, and he saw me put the full Nelson on somebody. And he says, "You ever try swinging your opponent?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, shit, you're strong enough. You could do it."
Yeah.
He says, "I remember guys like Don Leal, Jonathan tried doing it, but they couldn't. They swing like a half a swing." So I picked the guy up. He weighed about 240, 250, I guess. I swung him, 5, 6, 7 times. Fucking tore the house down. People couldn't believe it. They thought this guy was dead. Because I told him when I put him down on the mat and then I crunched him over, it looked like I was tearing the guy's head off. And so I said, "Just lay here." And I said, "They're going to bring the stretcher out." And so he did as I asked, and fucking thing got, after that, it was unbelievable.
Wow.
How'd you meet Brad?
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, so Billy White Wolf was tagged up with Chief Jay Strongbow. They had the WWF tag team belt at the time. So I'm doing, I think I might have had the Intercontinental belt by that time. I can't remember. Anyway, I jumped in on a match that Billy White was doing, beat the shit out of him, put that full Nelson on him, swung him around. And I said, I'm getting back at you for Sam LaPrinzi's gym. He's the guy that wanted to take me to Japan when I was a kid. And so what happened, that was a hell of an angle. He had a fatty tissue deposit on the back of his neck, and he wanted to have an operation to get rid of that. So he flies over to Hawaii about a week after that, has that operated on. So now he's got the scar and everything. And he comes back. I don't know, maybe he didn't come back. No, he didn't come back because I wound up doing a singles match with Chief Jay Strongbow all the way around. After about 4 or 5 months, Chief comes over and says, Kenny, I got to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, thank you. I said, what for? He said, this is the most money I've ever made in my life. I said, really? He says, wow. Yes. He said, I've never made this much money. And I said, well, thank you. I said, takes two to tangle.
Yeah.
And so that really, what an angle that was, a hot angle. Yeah.
Yeah. There's some people that you enjoy working with, and there's other people that go, oh my God, I just can't wait till the match gets over. But the ones that you like to work with, you don't even have to talk about it. Just like who's going over and how much time do we have to fill, and you'll have the time of your life out there.
That's it. You're exactly right. I'll tell you, I had so many. Like I wrestled Andre the Giant 600 times.
600 times?
600, over 600 times.
Well, I was going to try to bring him up because I kept thinking, because of your weightlifting, powerlifting background and stuff like that were you doing some matches with Andre to simply because you could have easily have picked him up and launched him.
Oh, I did. Yeah, many times.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I used to body slam Andre quite a bit. And but he always called it. Yeah, I never slammed him. I never did anything unless he okayed it.
Sure.
As far as the slams go, we never talked about that shit in the locker room. It was always right in the middle of the ring. Yeah, when he would call stuff like that. But God, he was just a super guy to work with. So light, you couldn't even feel him.
Yeah.
And he was well, Hulk Hogan felt him. He didn't like Hogan. And he didn't like John Studd either. I saw him beat the shit out of John Studd down in Washington one afternoon. It was an afternoon show. Oh my God. He just laid the leather on him. Boom. You could hear it to the back of the arena. That was a big arena too.
How'd you meet Brad Rheingans?
I met Brad Rheingans. Gee whiz. I'm trying to think of I went over to his apartment on West 7th Street here in St. Paul. And those Ultra Glide airplanes?
Yeah.
He had one stuffed behind his couch.
Yeah.
And it was sticking out, on one end. I said, is that an ultralight? He says, yeah. And I said, holy shit. I said, you are a daredevil. God, I can't remember how in the hell I met Brad. I've known him for years. God, I met him How old is Brad now? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I don't know. No, sir.
Yeah. Well, Bobby Backlund's about 74, 75, 75. So Brad's got to be, and you're what, 56?
7. He says 7.
You're 57?
Yes, sir.
Brad's got to be, 65 or older.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably 20 at the 76 Olympics, right?
What's that?
Probably 20 at the 76 Olympics, right?
Well, no, Brad was supposed to be in the 1980 Olympics, but
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter canceled those.
Yeah, but he took 4th in the 76 because that's when they did points, and he had beaten the top 3 guys.
Oh, yeah.
Because they did points, they ended up 4th.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, but then in 1980, he was supposed to go, and he would have won the gold medal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he would have won the gold medal.
Stud. He's a damn stud.
Yeah, in the 220-pound class. So anyway, then I got to know Brad real well after 80, but I'd met him before. So let's say 78, 79, somewhere there. No, because I wasn't in Minnesota at that time. I must have met him in 1980.
Yeah.
Yeah. 80, 81, something like that. Yeah,
he's such a good guy.
Yeah, we've been good friends over 40 years now. Yeah, he's a real good guy. Good guy to know. You know, he has a degree in pharmacy.
He has what?
He has a degree in pharmacy.
Oh, does he?
Oh, yeah. He can tell you all about every goddamn pill that was ever made.
Hey, Tony says he's 69 years old.
How old?
69.
Okay, yeah, that sounds, yeah, that's about right. Yeah. Him and Bobby Backlund were good friends. Yeah. Well, they grew up out here in western Minnesota. You know, Brad's from Appleton, Minnesota, and Backlund's from Princeton, Minnesota. So they're small town boys. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of good people come from that small town USA, you know.
Yeah, they're both studs. Yeah, I tell you, Brad's one of the strongest people ever. You know, he just grabs hold of you and just, he's like Gene LaBelle. You know, Gene LaBelle says, you know, you hurt him every time you touch him, and that was Brad. You know.
Yeah, Brad was tough. Well, fuck, he's still tough. 70 years old, he's still tough.
Yeah,
he's all full of metal now from all his body replacements.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he destroyed his body, but he's a tough son of a bitch.
Nicest guy in the world too, boy.
Oh yeah. He just called me about, I'd say 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, something like that. Wound up shooting the shit for an hour.
Wow.
He told me he was up in Fargo, North Dakota. Brock Lesnar had come up there and helped him get an apartment, and so he was in a hospice type of home, you know, because he couldn't take care of himself.
Yeah.
And then as he got better, you know, he's fine now.
Good.
Yeah, he has his own apartment now, and he told me he's looking forward to getting back to Minnesota pretty soon now. Yeah.
Yeah, just, you know, your health, I mean, it just becomes so much more important to you as you get older. I mean, it really does.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, you know, to get all the surgeries that you had at the start of the show, like going, holy moly, it's like going, that's wow.
I gotta see him on a horse.
Yeah,
what I've got to do here now, because it's basically about 10 minutes till 7 for me. I've got to get packed up, and I've got to get going here now.
All right, we're done, huh? Shit.
But I'd really like to go on, kept on going here right now, because I had so many more questions there for you there, Ken.
What to do another?
We might have to do a part 2 there somewhere down the road.
Can you do another one, Ken?
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's repackage this thing. I'm going to have, hopefully I'll have back surgery on the 25th. So about a month from now, a month and a half from now.
No problem.
That'd be great.
We'll have Tony look at the scheduling, stuff like that, and they'll give you some time to heal up in that, just so that we'll see you in a better mood. Well, again, you've been in a good mood all this evening right now, but
I'm in a good mood.
Having Ken Patera on this evening, we from track and field man to weightlifting or Olympic lifting to strongman to professional wrestling career. It's been an incredible evening here just to spend some time there with you there, Ken, and look forward to doing part 2.
Thank you.
Thank you,
good
Ken.
seeing you guys.
On this note, though, Rich, do you have anything that you want to plug in terms of, like, if someone's trying to get in contact with you to book you for something? Okay, a book.
Yeah, my book just came out 2 months ago. Selling like wildfire. Look at that handsome son of a bitch.
Look at that.
Oh, that's me. But
no, again, but how do they get in contact with you? Okay, if you've got your book, but how do they get in contact with you, Tim?
KenPatera.com.
All right, and you got the correct spelling right there, KenPatera.com, KenPatera.com.
Yeah, that's it.
Get that book, Weight of the World.
The Weight of the World. It's almost 500 pages, but don't let that scare you out. There's a lot of pictures.
All right, Burner. Thank you, sir.
Ken, thank you very much.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. You bet. Good seeing you, Don.
Nice seeing you again, sir. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. You better like, subscribe, and share, or I'm going to come to your house.